It's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem, and some people to thank who have helped me on my journey and inspire me, and I will include links to their sites below this video so you can check them out as well. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Lona Nava, Rav Daniel Asore, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, and who else? Rabbi Michael Skobac from Jews for Judaism, and hopefully I didn't leave anyone out. And I just wanted to say too, if you've never watched any of my videos before, and I have over 70 videos, Baruch Hashem, hopefully more in the future, and please check out my first video, which seems like an ages ago I did that one. I explain more what M.L.M means, what it stands for, and what I'm doing. So the topic for today is called thought, speech, and deeds. Now that's a loaded topic. There's a lot I could say about that. So thought is machshavot in Hebrew, what do you think? Speech is your dibur, and deeds are your asiya, what you do. So why is this an important topic? And I'm also going to be referring to the wonderful Artscroll Tehillim, because David HaMelech, he wrote 150 Psalms that are amazing, and here he talks about things that I'm going to mention. But why is this important? Because it's important what we think, what we say, and what we do. It really matters a lot. So I'm going to refer to some different psukim in different prakim here that talk specifically about this. So the first one is Perek Kuf Mem Aleph, which is 141. And the head topic, or the headline for this this Perek is, even in crisis, one must pray not only for physical deliverance, but also for Hashem's help in avoiding the slightest trace of sin. So he says, David HaMelech says in Pasuk, let's see where I am, Pasuk Dalid, Pasuk Gimel and Pasuk Dalid. It says, Shita Hashem Shamra Lafi Nitzra Al Dal Sifatai Al Tatli Bila Davara Litalel Alilel Beresha Et Ishim Poale Aven Huval Elcham Biman Amehem. Post, O Hashem, a sentry for my mouth. Post a guard on the door of my lips. Let not my heart incline toward a thing that is evil, to perform acts that are evil, with men who are doers of evil, and let me not break bread in their pleasure feasts. So when it talks about a sentry for my mouth, and my heart, not my heart inclined toward a thing that is evil, and perform acts. So here he's praying for Hashem to help him in avoiding sin in speech, thought, and deed. So here he's referring specifically to not sinning with those things. You could, sinning with your thoughts. For example, if you think about doing something that's not good, but you don't actually do it, then that doesn't count. As opposed to the opposite, if you think about doing something good, like you want to do a mitzvah or you want to do something, but you're not able to for whatever reason, it actually counts because you really want to do it. You really are anxious to do it, but for some reason you're unable to. So, and then, this is in Perek, let's see, Perek Tet Zayin, which is 16, and this is Pasuk Chet, where it says, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid ki miyamini val emot. I have set Hashem before me always, because he's at my right hand, I shall not falter. So when it says Shiviti, I have set, this teaches a fundamental principle of the Torah, represents one of the qualities of the righteous who walk before Hashem. A person's conduct in private differs dramatically from his conduct in the king's presence, whether in speech, business, or when attending to his physical needs. Certainly one's constant awareness that he stands in the presence of the King of Kings will profoundly influence his behavior. So that's something we have to think about, no pun intended, in our thoughts, that we need to realize we're always standing in front of the King of all kings. When you go in front of a physical king, you present yourself nicely, you think about the words you're going to say very carefully, respectfully, You dress in a certain way to show your respect. So you do all these things. So here, when you're standing, at every second, you have to remember that you're standing in front of Hashem. So wow, He knows what I'm thinking. So I have to try to keep that in mind too. He knows what I'm going to do before I even do it. He knows what I'm going to say before I even say it. But that doesn't mean we don't have the choice to choose to do the right thing or to do the good thing. So, and then next, let's see here. This is also in Perek Vav 26, and this is Pasuk Aleph and Pasuk Bet. The David Shofteni Hashem ki ani betumi halachti, uva Hashem batachti lo emad, bechaneni Hashem v'naseni, tzarfa chilyotai v'libi. So he's saying, by David, judge me, Hashem, for I, in my perfect innocence, I have walked, and in Hashem I have trusted, I shall not waver. Examine me, Hashem, and test me. Scrutinize my intellect and my heart. So David HaMelech is saying, Shafteni, he says, judge me. He declares himself ready to be examined by Hashem for the slightest trace of sinfulness. And then it says, when it says, Hashem batachti lo emad, and Hashem I've trusted, I shall not waver. I'm confident that I will not waver from my righteousness, because I trust in Hashem that will assist me to be purified. So he's saying that he knows that he'll be righteous because he is trusting that Hashem will help him. And then when it says, Bechaneni v'naseni v'tzarfa, examine me, test and scrutinize me, see that I'm completely pure. He's saying he's ready to be examined. I have done my utmost to achieve moral perfection. Examine me to determine how far I have progressed. Test me to see if I can progress still further, and cleanse me. I desire even chastisement. This will further my soul. He was not above reproach. I mean, he was the king of the world, basically. He was amazing, and he still put himself at a level where he's like, test me, examine me, see that I'm doing what's right. And if I need you to tell me, to correct me, then let me know that too. So I'm not claiming that I'm perfect, but I'm doing my best to reach that level. And then it goes on to say that when he asked Hashem to test him, to show that he was on the same level as our Avos, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, he tested him with Bathsheba and he failed. So then David HaMelech said he regretted it. He said, Zamoti bal ya'avor pi, my scheming will not again pass my lips. So he knew that he wasn't able to pass that. So, and then Perek Lamed. This is Pasuk Daled. Hashem helita min she'ol nafshi chiyitani miyardi vor. Hashem, you have raised me from the lower world, raised up from the lower world my soul. You have preserved me from my descent to the grave. So when it says Hashem helita min she'ol nafshi, this is very interesting. He's saying that he describes as if he's already died and descended to the lower world. Now we can learn from this, according to the Talmud, in Nedarim 22a says, whoever becomes angry is subject to all types of Gehenna. So this is how you could suffer Gehenna while you're still alive. The flames of frustration, anguish, and melancholy are the equivalent of the fires of Gehenna. And this is what it refers to when falling into the lower world. So thinking about that, being angry, that's an action that you're angered, that causes really negativity. So that's something that is very important to work on. Okay, and then the next one is Perek Lamed Daled, which is 34. Okay, so this, we're going to start with Yud Bet, Yud Gimel, Yud Daled, Tet Vav, and I think Tet Zayin too. This is really key information. L'chuvanim shemuli yirat Hashem alamedchem. Go, O sons, heed me, the fear of Hashem I will teach you. Mi ha'esh hechafetz Chaim, ohev yamim la'rot tov. Who is the man who desires life, who loves days of seeing good? So, and we know there was someone who took on that name Chofetz Chaim, and this actually refers to what the Chofetz Chaim was all about. Lashon Hara, not speaking Lashon Hara. gossip and slander. So when it says, who's a man who desires life in the world to come, we're talking about, in another vein, he urges people to better their lives in the world by avoiding gossip and slander. David HaMelech was the victim of constant slander, and his generation suffered defeats in battle because they were not careful in their speech. So that had to do with a lot of downfall for Bnei Israel. Then the Baal Shem Tov taught that this is very key. Every person is allotted a given number of words during his lifetime. When he used up his quota, he dies. Thus, by guarding his tongue, one assures himself of greater longevity. This is from the Baal Shem Tov. So that's why you have to really watch what you say, because by saying frivolous words that are harmful, you're using up your allotted portion of words. Better you use it for Torah. Better you learn Torah, practice Torah, speak Torah, teach Torah. Because that's not for negativity. So that's very important to remember. So the Chofetz Chaim, that was his whole modus operandi, was to teach people to stay away from Lashon Hara. And that's very important. There's actually a phone number you can call in that you can, it's called Chazaq. And I'll put a link below this video too. And you call in, and it's the Chofetz Chaim Foundation. And they have whole series of lectures, even for women, that I listen to, about staying away from Lashon Hara, and amazing, like, what it all means, like, because there's so many different nuances to what is considered Lashon Hara, what is not. Okay, and continuing on here. Nitzor l'shoncha me'ra, u'sfatecha midaber mirma. Guard your tongue from evil, and your lips from speaking deceit. So when it says from evil and deceit, slander, false testimony, and cursing, deceit refers to insincere friendship that masks evil designs, according to Radak. It also includes exaggerated praise that lays a groundwork for discussing faults. Like you might say, oh, this person is wonderful, but... So you start on the positive and it leads to the negative, so that's not a good thing either. Einei Hashem el tzadikim v'aznav el shavatam. The eyes of Hashem are toward the righteous, and his ears are toward their cry. So again, this is part of thought, speech, and deeds, that Hashem turns to the righteous and he listens to what they have to say, their speech. Okay? But then it says, the next pasuk we're going to continue on to, Yud Zayin, and Yud Chet, and Yud Tet, and Chaf, actually, we're going to continue. So, Pnei Hashem ba'osei ra la'achrit me'eretz echram. The face of Hashem is against doers of evil, to cut off from earth their memories. So, because of their deeds, they get cut off. And they also get cut off in the world to come. Tza'aku v'Hashem shameo mikol tzaratam hitilam. The righteous cried out, and Hashem heeds, and from all their troubles he rescues them. So again, he listens to them, to what they have to say. Karov Hashem l'nishbarei leiv. Hashem is close to the brokenhearted. Bet tak'ei ruach yoshia. And those crushed in spirit he saves. Rabot ra'ot tzadik. Many are the mishaps of the righteous. Umikulam yatzilenu Hashem. But from them all, Hashem rescues him. So that tells a lot about what I was discussing, the thoughts, speech, and deeds. Okay, next, let's see if there was anything else. Oh yes, then there was another one I wanted to refer to, if I can find it here. Let's see if I've lost my place. There was another one. There was another Perek in Tehillim, and I can't find it now. I thought I had it marked off, where David HaMelech talks again about being tested, and they're still referring to the same incident. Now, another chapter that is chock full of what we should say. So this whole Tehillim, if you go through it, you'll learn a lot about thought, speech, and deeds. But Pasuk, I should say Perek, Kuf Mem Hey, which is actually what we say when we say Ashrei, except doesn't include the first couple of psukim. Kuf Mem Hey 145, when the topic is that man is obligated to praise Hashem's providential provision of the needs of every living creature. So David HaMelech was on here about praising Hashem, and that we need to praise his wondrous deeds, and tell the whole world about his goodness and his righteousness, and he's great in bestowing kindness and slow to anger, and that he the will of those who fear him he will do, and all who call upon him sincerely he will answer. So all those things are very important. So getting back to thought, speech, and deeds. So it's very important. I mean, there's so much that can be said about it. But for example, a few things. Thoughts. Anything that we could think or thought, speech, and deeds, it's positive. When I say positive, it means good. It's really good for us, and it's good for the other person if it's something we're involved with, doing some action, or maybe we're doing something and it's the will of Hashem, so that's also good. So if we have positive thoughts about ourselves, that's the other thing. Is some people don't have positive thinking, and you have to change that around. Like something happens that is not in line with what you think is good, but really it is in line with what Hashem thinks is good, and that's what truly matters. But it's hard for most people on the level, as a human being, to understand that. So, and because of that occurrence leads to the speech. So we may come out and say something that is not, we blurt it out because we're in a moment of anger or something. We're thinking, just however we are, so we just rush to say something, and we realize that speech that we said wasn't good. And then the next level to the deeds, then you may actually, because you're in this certain state of, negativity, we'll call it, then you may end up doing something, acting out with that, because something's bothering you so much, and you act out upon it onto others, and that the others may not be who this is about, but it's just you need to vent, so to speak. People like to vent. Better to vent to Hashem. Better to cry out to Him, tell Him what's bothering you. That's your best option than to lash out at someone else, because it's not really, it has no productivity. It's not going to benefit anyone in any way, and it's only going to cause harm. The same thing with like Lashon Hara. People don't realize it's so easy to fall into the trap where people think that if I'm just discussing a group of people, group X, but you say the name of that group, that people know who that name is. Like, let's say it was purple. Let's say that was the name of the group. The purple group, they're just this and this, and you know who that is. So that's lumping everyone together in a negative connotation, and it's Lashon Hara, even though it's a group. Even though you're not specifying a specific person, it's still Lashon Hara because you're putting them all together. So it's better sometimes to just, some people may still know who you're talking about, but you don't mention who they are or where they are. You're, you don't mention a name or anything. You say Mr. X or Mr. Y or whatever, but you don't refer to them as what everyone knows them as. So, you have to be really, really careful because it's so easy to fall into that trap. And then what the other part about your speech, your speaking, Lashon Hara, is that, three people are affected. You are, the person you're speaking to about it, like the other person, or a group of people, and the ones who you're talking Lashon Hara about. So, and Lashon Hara is just so toxic. People don't realize the levels that it affects the upper worlds. Like it gives, I read up once this amazing long thing about it, like a book practically, what it creates in the upper world. It creates a mouthpiece for the Yetzer Hara because, for example, let's say you did something that wasn't, up to par. And then right after that you said Lashon Hara because of whatever that you did or something, and you're upset. Before that happened, you still have a chance to be vindicated or to be, for you to have mercy on you. But once you open your mouth and said Lashon Hara, it's like Mida K'neged Mida. You open your mouth, so you're giving the Lashon Hara a mouthpiece. Before, he didn't have a mouth. He didn't have an actual way to vocalize going against you, being the instigator, to say about you that, you should be punished for that. But now you created that by you opening your mouth. So everything is Mida K'neged Mida, The term an eye for an eye, but I don't really like that term. It's like your action causes a reaction. Like putting your hand in the fire, you're going to get burned. This cause and effect. It'll happen. So we have to be always aware of that. It's so important. And it applies to anyone. It's not just about your own fellow Jews. It's about anyone saying Lashon Hara. You can't say about anyone. Just like they say you can't steal. Just because someone's not a Jew doesn't mean you can do bad things to them. Everyone's the children of Hashem. They're not His chosen. They're not His, His nation, so to speak, that He loves more than anything. But it's still His children, no matter what. And then our actions speak volumes. And it's not just, and it's also our non-actions, meaning just how you present yourself in your appearance. How you, what you're wearing, how you're living, everything that you do can have an effect. And you want to come across as someone that, again, imagine you're standing before the king. How would you want to be recognized? How would you want to appear? How would you want others to remember you? The idea is that instead of them saying, oh goodness, boy, she was blah, blah, blah. Of course that's Lashon Hara, don't want them, but people thinking in their head how they think about you. Present yourself respectfully. Present yourself as what you're representing. You have to realize what you're representing in this world. It's so crucial because it makes a big difference. And again, it makes a big difference in Shemayim. Everything that's done down here is affected up there. Even though we can't see it, we physically can't see it because it's a spiritual world. It's not a physical world. So it's not visible to us. So we have to always remember that what we think and what we say and what we do matters. And I want to just say that I hope and pray that we all do the right thing, speak the right thing, and act the right way that will bring us closer and closer to seeing Mashiach, and that we will merit to live and see Him speedily in our days, and the rebuilding of our final everlasting Beis HaMikdash. Amen, and thank you for watching.